Sean Haney here with RealAgriculture.com and Real Ag Radio, and we're at Farm Tech 2019 in Edmonton, Alberta. And right now I'm joined by Alberta Canola's new president as of yesterday. New chairman. New chairman. John Guelly from Westlock, Alberta. John, how's it going?
Very good. Very good.
So you've been in training for this role for quite some time. You're looking forward to it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting. I've seen a big part of the industry, and I'm looking forward to seeing another part of it. Okay,
so as the new chairman, what are you looking the most forward to as you lead this group forward?
Well, I guess I could default to my typical Clubroot speech, but beyond that, I think we want to try to move the industry forward. We've got some flux with council right now. We need to get that smoothed over and get things running, and basically keep things going.
Yeah. Well, Canola's had a very, very good run. And you mentioned Clubroot. You've been doing a great job speaking at a lot of different events about your experience with Clubroot, and almost like a AA meeting, so to speak, like sort of
CA, Clubroot Anonymous.
I have Clubroot. So in going across Western Canada, talking about your experience, and really honest, being very honest and transparent about your experience, what has been some of the feedback?
Most of it's been pretty good, and I feel like we're starting to move the needle a little bit now. The stigma's maybe starting to fall away a little bit. After I spoke in southern Alberta, back in your stomping grounds a few weeks ago, we did have a producer come forward and say that he had Clubroot.
In the middle of the meeting?
No, after the meeting. He's not quite that brave yet, and I don't blame him.
My name is Sam. I have something to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good, though.
And I was in Manitoba last week in Brandon, and there was a few farmers that didn't think they needed to do much with Clubroot because they don't have it yet. It's not a problem.
Oh, man.
And I said, don't be too complacent. Start doing things so you don't end up in the mess that we're in Alberta. So by the time I left there, some of the farmers I'd spoken to had seemed to change their mind.
And you've been doing this talk for 2 years now, or is it 3?
A little bit over a year.
Okay. And I'm sure in that short period of time, though, you have seen a big change. Like you said, we are making gains. I imagine when you first started doing them, it was a little bit more standoffish, and now the crowd's a little bit more. People are realizing. I'm really noticing this winter. People are realizing it's a real threat to the canola acre.
Definitely. People are realizing it's a problem, and the sooner they deal with it, the sooner that they can get their farm back online, and away they go. They've heard some of the horror stories and starting to change what they're doing. And fortunately, some of the research, or a lot of the research, is supporting this change because, we'd always talked about a 4-year rotation, and now science has proven that as long as our spore loads are low, a 2-year break is all we need, so a 3-year crop rotation. So, especially in central and north central Alberta, there aren't a lot of crops that we can necessarily grow, and the wheat canola rotation seems to be prevalent. And I always say, well, you should be able to grow barley or peas, and there's your 3-year rotation. Research is now supporting that that's sufficient, and away we go.
So you mentioned flux with council. Canola Council's gone through, some changes here in the last year, or just over a year, with Richardson withdrawing from the group. What are some of the things that are left to be fixed in this flux period?
Well, we're still sorting out the market development part of things. Council's kind of out of it, but the Canadian Canola Growers Association has picked up some of the slack in that, and they're trying to sort out where we're headed with that. So that's going to take a little bit of time. The agronomy team, that's going to take a little bit of figuring out exactly where the sort of things that they're going to do going forward. They're going to try and focus more on the train the trainer and try to get some efficiencies there so that they're not necessarily going one-on-one, and which certainly isn't the best use of their time or energy.
So will Canola Council agronomists still go out to field days and interact one-on-one with farmers, or are they planning to do more just talking to agronomists and retails?
Both.
Okay.
There was some confusion early on, and I think we've got that sorted out now. Always a little bit of give and take, and they'll definitely be going out to the retailers, but they'll also be still coming to our crop walks and paloozas and stuff like that. So I think it's a great thing. It's, change is always good. It's always somewhere you can streamline, and I think it's all going to work out, but it's just going to take a little bit of time to test the water and see where we're at.
Right. So the changes came out in mid-December. I think they were. It was rolled out, something like that.
Yeah, Saskatoon meeting in Canola Industry Day in Saskatoon was kind of when the public announcement was made.
Alberta Canola is satisfied and happy with the changes and the strategy going forward?
Yeah, we had some proposals put forward to us, and some of it we were happy with, some we weren't. We expressed our concerns, and they took it back and reevaluated, and I think we're at a place where we're fairly happy with what's going on. But again, it's going to take a little time for it all to shake out and see where we're at.
In a year like this coming up here in 2019, there is a lot of discussions about where acres kind of get placed. We had the StatsCan report on Friday. Crops like durum dropping significantly, crops like wheat up. What do you think about the future for canola acres going forward here in a year like this? On your own farm, has it been quite stable, or have you been, like everybody else, kind of creeping acres higher?
Well, living in Clubroot Central, I am now on a fixed 3-year rotation. And so
what does that rotation look like?
It's canola, malt barley, wheat, canola, malt barley, wheat. So my acres stay fixed. I have a third in each commodity and have really no plans to change. I guess if we had a challenging spring, that something might change. But other than that, going to keep plugging forward the same way. You talk about canola acres, and it's funny. We met with a county council a few weeks ago and with their Ag Service Board, and kind of had a bit of an epiphany there. They're talking about you guys, are promoting canola, trying to get more acres, more market, et cetera, and I thought to myself, Alberta Canola's mandate isn't to grow more canola acres. We want to be more efficient and raise yields, but in anything with the case of Clubroot, we actually want to pull back a few acres. We want to be able to have a good rotation so that we can continue growing canola for a long, long time.
The long-term sustainability of the crop.
Exactly.
Yesterday you had your AGM. Jessica Goose, our news lead, was at the AGM, and she talked about how a big commitment to research going forward. Yeah,
we in this past year we had a lot of great proposals, and we had some money sitting in member equity reserve, and we thought that was the time to start putting some of that money to work. So we reallocated that money into research, and instead of our usual $1 million budget, we're closer to $3 million on research last year. So.
And where is the bulk of that committed to? What areas?
Good chunk into Clubroot. A little bit of agronomy stuff, some entomology stuff, some of the other diseases like blackleg, sclerotinia, kind of those sort of things. We do have a little bit of market development research going on with health and what have you, but that's the bulk of it.
Ever since the days of the Bill 6 ag safety, I would say controversy that being put forward, you've had on the communication side, a real Team Alberta approach where, putting out press releases, all the commissions together. Do you see that continuing going forward? Has that been a successful venture?
I'm sure it's going to go forward. There's going to be some situations where our policies might differ a little bit, but there's going to be a lot of situations where there's a good synergy, the four of us still working together. It's some of the times we've done it has been very effective, and certainly a tool that we want to use in the future. Cool.
Hey, John, well, all the best to you. I know we're on day 2 here of your time as chairman, so it will go quick. So how is it, 2-year term, or what is it?
The chair and vice chair positions are 1 year, so you have to be re-upped every year, and I have 2 years left in my second term, and so 1 year or 2 year, we'll see what happens.
There you go. Well, hey, John, all the best to you, and thanks a lot for joining us here.
Thanks for having me.